we are live. Okay. I think everything's rolling. Quick test. Make sure everybody in the chat can see us. Yep, that works. Even Rumble's rolling good. All right, good. All right. I hope everybody is having a blessed day today. It's being a little hectic behind the scenes, but as usual, we're going to go ahead and start introducing our panel for today. We will start with Wavo, please. Oh, something just went wrong. I just hit the wrong button again. Oh,
Hey, everybody.
introduce yourself.
I'm uh I'm physically here, but not mentally. Not with it today.
Oh, believe me, I understand, dude. Plus the fact you are babysitting a puppy at the moment, so there is that. Everybody, please.
Well, I was babysitting a puppy, but she went home a few minutes ago. So
Oh, okay. Well, everybody, uh, today is a really heavy day for our brother Wavo. So please keep him in your thoughts and your prayers. It's a bad anniversary. Plus, his grandfather is currently in the hospital, just having a what was it again? A biopsy or a polyp removal?
polyp removal.
Okay, so please keep Wavo and his granddad and in your thoughts and your prayers.
Yeah, normally a polyp removal wouldn't be that big a deal, but he's 80. He'll be 89 on Saturday.
So please, guys, keep them in your thoughts and your prayers, and send goodwill hit their way, and especially Wavo's way. Like I said, today's a really heavy, hurtful anniversary that I wished he wasn't having to go through because I know exactly where he's at, um, and I wish I don't have to tell him this that it's a hurt that doesn't go away over time. Um, Especially considering the fact that you said it was what 22 years now,
With 21 years.
21 years.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling for you, brother, and we are definitely praying for you. And anything you need, man, just say it. And if it's in our power, it's yours.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Just keep me in your prayers. That's all I asked.
All right. And we have a guest host today. We have Cowboy Dan.
Hey, howdy, hey, boys and girls. So today, we're going to be talking about some stuff that maybe I might say something that might make a few people mad, and maybe that's probably the point. And we're going to have a lot of fun doing it. Thanks for having me
Just
here.
remember, we're here even to agree to disagree and still be friends
Oh
if we
yeah,
disagree. That's the whole point.
absolutely. I'm looking forward to it, particularly considering one of the topics you have planned for us. I've had to have a little experience with earlier today regarding some people in my community. So
Oh yeah.
tell you about it later.
All right. And then we have Crazy Horse.
Hey.
How you doing, Bubba?
Another day.
Yeah, another day, another carrot.
Yep. Of course, Casey's always feeding me carrots.
Yep. That's true. All right, and we have Alice of the Holt with her new avatar. Take a look, boys and girls. She looks like she's starring as the next Doctor Who.
Because we all go down and the cards fly and the watches whirl and time spins round and round and round.
Yep. And I would go to Casey, but Casey's away from the keyboard at the moment. He is having lasagna. And I am not going to get in the way of a man enjoying lasagna because let's face it, man.
No, but
Lasagna,
Casey would say hello. Wait, would
he
it
can't.
somebody
He's eating
rules?
lasagna, man. And as we all know, lasagna is
Nice.
almost as good as sex. So we don't mess with people having their lasagna. Now, today we've got a pretty full roster of stuff to talk about today. As many of you know, unless you have been, well, even people living under rocks pretty much know about what happened over the weekend at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. That's going to be one of the subjects for today. We also had breaking news this morning, Supreme Court ruling about the racial gerrymandering of districts in Louisiana. We also had the big vote getting there in Virginia that was going to switch out a fairly standard bipartisan districting plan in Virginia and replacing it to where the Republicans would only have one representative while all the other representatives would have been Democrats, getting thrown out because of the way it was stated on the ballot was misleading. We've got news about the Ripperverse getting a distribution partner with Hatchet Book Group, and how amazing that is. I mean, that's a massive win for the Ripperverse. We've got Dan, Cowboy Dan. Can you say this family name again?
Oh,
Astracuco.
yeah. So they are the let's see if I can pronounce it. Took me a second to sound it out on my own earlier. It's Ostrich. I said it really good off stage.
Yes, you did. That's why I was saying, can you pronounce it for me? Because my speechifying ability with weird names is not
Ostrico.
Yes,
Ostrico. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That family got
The
indicted.
awestruck hoe.
Yeah. That family got indicted for their attack on Turning Point USA's reporter Savannah Hernandez. For those who don't know, they walked up behind her, the father, this 250 or 80-pound dude, comes up behind this little tiny girl and whops her in the back and knocks her to the ground. And so, yeah, they got indicted today. We also are going to be saying goodbye to two creators who created some of our childhood heroes. Odds are one of these two people, you love a character they created, and that was Roger Sweet, the man who created He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, and Jerry Conway, the comic book creator of The Punisher, Ben Reilly, the Scarlet Spider, Firestorm, Jason Todd, and a whole bunch of other ones.
Oh, man.
Casey's back. Okay, Casey, tell everybody hello and that you're here.
Forgive me for the way I was just doing my Undead Garfield impersonation for the lasagna. I am so happy to be here with everyone today. You have no idea. And sorry again for the delay, boss.
Hey, man, I'm not going to get in the way of anybody enjoying lasagna. Lasagna is almost as good as sex.
Well, I'll have to take your word for it. I've eaten one, but I haven't eaten the other yet. And I'll just put it to you that the one I've eaten is the one with the tomato sauce.
Hey, man, one of these days, whenever we can get everybody together and we can have Alice and me do a whole bunch of cooking, it's going to be fun. We're going to come out of everybody's coming back home after that vacation about 50 pounds heavier, man. Because we're going to be
fat and happy, baby. Fat and happy.
Yep. And Crazy in the chat said that James Comey was arrested today. Yes. I was thinking about bringing that up, but I haven't done a read up enough on all of the charges that's been brought up against him yet.
Yep.
So, yeah, Zachary, you are more than happy to share your decent news. What is it? Well, Tim says a live cooking show would be fun, and yes, that is on our plate of things to do is cooking with Richard and Alice. We're not sure if it's going to be on this channel or on Alice's channel. Odds are we'll probably end up dual streaming it, so it'll be on both. But who knows? It's just going to be fun because I finally got a savings account so I can finally start saving for a PC I want to get. That is so cool, son.
Yay!
Go, Zachy.
Awesome. And the GoPro is definitely, we've got to get the GoPro stuff done because we're holding off on doing let's talk about Lake Lure, giving an update on the Hurricane Helene recovery efforts there in Lake Lure until we can get a GoPro and be able to actually film the area where up there where Alice and Crazy's at, so you can see how it's changed. And I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be great. Well, Zach, as soon as you get your own computer and everything, I might be able to help you get because I think the drawing program I've got can be shared with another computer, and if it is, me and Becca will help get you all set up for it. But anywho, which story should we do first? Should we hold off a little bit on the White House Correspondents' Dinner and go to something? Let's do a little community update first. Everybody knows about the AI purge that's been going down and how there's a lot of everyday people who've been caught up in it, including people who show their own faces on their live streams. No, Tim says if we're talking about what happened Saturday, I will say it wasn't staged. Too many people would have to be in the know, and if he got to the room, so many lawsuits would have happened. Yeah, very true, Tim. That's your name, right, Tim?
It's Tim.
Yeah. Okay. It's taken me a while to be able to recognize because I don't recognize people by their name. I recognize people by their face. So I'm sorry, but that's just my form of the tism. Is I recognize. Yeah, my tism is the fact that I recognize people by face and by scent. It takes me forever to remember names. It's like with Laura Jane and Rebecca. When I'm just talking like this, I can say their names, but whenever I start referring to one of them individually, I have to force myself to make sure I'm saying the right name because I get their names messed up. It's why whenever I talk about Rebecca, there's a lot of times Laura Rebecca. It's because I almost start to say Laura Jane's name, but it's supposed to be Becca. And the same thing happens whenever I'm talking about Laura Jane. Because everybody says LJ. I do use LJ sometimes, but I usually just say her full name of Laura Jane. Oh,
I kind of a similar situation with my DJ stuff. Like when I used to do karaoke work, right? I will never remember your name unless I see it written down 3 times with your favorite song that you're singing. Then I'll probably remember your name the next week. And then 3 more weeks later, if you keep on coming in and doing the same thing, I'll eventually remember your name. And then half the time, like nowadays with the people on YouTube and all these other media sites that everybody's on, they have like these weird gamer tag names that it's like, really? You want me to say that? I'm not going to say any your name with the word balls attached to it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if you're anything like my mom and dad when they did DJ work, they remembered people not by their name but by the songs that they
By
always.
the song yeah, exactly.
And that was, but that was because of the fact that they had to deal with so many people because they did DJ work for uh, weddings and parties, especially costume parties, because up around here people loved having my mom and dad do their costume party because mom and dad would also dress up in costume. My mom would dress up as Elvira, and dad would dress up as Benny Hill. And they looked, when they were in costume, they actually looked like Elvira and Benny Hill. And people loved having them there to do the DJ stuff. And it's all the DJ equipment is currently sitting in an environmental storage building, so it doesn't get messed up. And the speakers that they used filled up the back of a van. These big, huge honking speakers. They were awesome. My dad refurbished them and rebuilt them, and they were nice. And somebody actually offered to buy them from us for $400 to $500, and we didn't sell them because we still would love to be able to do the DJ work because it was something that we did as a family. But anyway, our community update. If those who are worried about Tony, we got to talk to him a little bit on his Discord server. He seems to be okay, but please keep him in your thoughts and your prayers, just like we're going to be keeping Wavo and his family in our thoughts and prayers. That everything goes good. He's still waiting to find out about the demonetization of his channel. He has said that he does have some plans for stuff that he would like to continue doing over on Rumble. Scooby Pup is found us another streaming service that we might be able to a place to stream to as well. That was created by streamers for streamers called Blaze, I think is the name of it. I actually went and created an account there this morning after she told us about it. I haven't checked it out yet. I was busy all day doing some artwork and lost track of time. So I'm sorry for that. But anyway, anybody else got some community update news they'd like to give everybody?
Can't think of anything.
Can't think of anything. I think you covered it.
All right, cool. All right, next up, let's go ahead and hit the Ripperverse news since we're doing updates. And the Ripperverse, for those of you who don't know, I was one of the early members of Comicsgate. And amongst the Comicsgate stuff that came out, we had a lot of people complaining about the state of the comic book industry. And we kept getting told, well, why don't y'all create your own comic books? And we had several people, well, more than several, I think something like 20 people that started doing comics. You had Ethan Van Sciver bringing back Cyberfrog, which I backed, and I'm still waiting for the latest one that I backed that hasn't come through. You had your boy Zach, which became Comics Matter, who put out several comics with Splato Comics, which also included something that he did with Sylvester Stallone about First Blood, which was telling the backstory of John Rambo before he became a Green Beret in Vietnam. We had Doug Ernst. You had John Della Rose. You had a whole bunch of people who actually made some really good comic books and put them out there using the crowdfunding platforms to do it. And Eric July created his Ripperverse and put it out there. and it has been going really well. And they were having to distribute it themselves online. Well, they were able to secure a deal with Hatchet Book Group. uh, and Hatchet Book Group is going to be distributing their comic books not just in bookstores and uh, bookstores, grocery stores, convenience stores, but also distribute them all across the world. This is a big, big deal. So this is awesome, and I'm excited for Eric July and everybody associated with Ripperverse. So please, if you guys get a chance, go check them out. They're pretty cool. And Zachary had said he was looking away when he heard the name Zach, and he turned his head thinking I was talking about him. It's all good, son. And he also said, why does the keyboard on the phone have to be so accidentally click the letters next to the one I'm actually aiming for? That's why I don't use those little. My fingers are too big for those little keyboards. So yeah,
I gotta say, as somebody who initially backed the first Ripperverse product, I'm really pleased to hear that that's going through.
yeah. Eric July is pretty. He has done everything in his power to stay on schedule, and it's ridiculous. It's the one thing that really upsets me about Ethan Van Sciver. I liked his work. He always did such detailed artwork that I had always had a great deal of respect for him. Would see him at various conventions and talk with him about the detail work that he did, and the fact that I'm still waiting on the last Cyber Frog project I backed. It still hasn't showed up yet. I'm not. He does high quality work, so whenever it shows up, I'm going to be really excited about it and enjoy it. I just wish we weren't waiting so long. But anywho, the Ripperverse is really cool. I like it. There was another company that I backed that did several comic books that they were able to get a distribution with Walmart. Problem is, Walmart would put the comic books stands. It was never in the same place twice, and you literally had to go hunting throughout the store trying to find where they put them, which is probably one of the reasons why you can't find them anymore. And they had some really good comics. They had Red Rooster. They had shoot, what was the name of the Texas Ranger that they based the Lone Ranger on? The black Texas Ranger guy. Dang it.
Bueller.
What was his name? Hold on, give me a second. No. Bass Reeves, that was it. Bass Reeves. They had a comic book that was based on Bass Reeves' real life adventures, and it was really good. And like I said, the guys were really good. I loved their work. The comics were well written, great quality paper and printing, and you can't find them anymore. So it really sucks. And Cowboy Dan says never got into indie comic only because they are diamonds in the rough that were hard to find and receive unless I knew a guy who knew a guy, and I was lucky to actually get a copy. Yeah, that's the problem with some of them, which suck. And whenever they said, "Hey, we've got a distribution thing with Walmart," we all were like, "All right, this is good, this is good." And then whenever we saw how Walmart literally buried their books it sucks. So what do you tell more people about when you got into the comic books? Dan, go for it.
Oh, I got into comic books because my dad died when I was 5, and I needed something for kind of like uh, the closest thing I can get to a positive male role model. Um, Lived in a family of nothing but women, so
Hey, now, what's wrong with that?
no male role model. Nothing wrong with it. I just needed a positive male role model, so discovered Archie comics, and then from there the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then from there Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles the way Eastman and Laird intended it with their stuff, and then like I went down the comic book rabbit hole, so to speak, and looking for positive male role models. Part of the reason why I'm kind of very agitated that the comic book industry has gone in a direction that wants to remove positive male role models. But regarding finding comic books at Walmart, sometimes you'll find like they have like a 20 count, or sorry, a 10 count comic book pack up by the Magic the Gathering stuff, by the suggestive sales, by the cash registers, if they even still have those at your Walmart. Some, they got rid of them at mine. But yeah, I was all about trying to find like that one, that one, not only looking for the character uh that's me, like a lot of people were like Peter Parker, that character's me, right? But also trying to find that positive male role model that a lot of kids are lacking nowadays.
Yeah, that's the whole point to me that comic books was to inspire, that gave you a positive role model, that inspired you to be better than you are. And too many times nowadays, it's they keep pushing. You're good just the way you are. You don't need to fix anything, make anything better. You're good being fat, dumb, and happy, which does nothing but keep you in a rut and make it easier for you to be controlled. And it sucks. We need to inspire people to be better versions of themselves. That was the whole point of a lot of our media. I mean, why do you think sports was such a big deal? It made kids want to go out there and do something physically. I stopped watching sports because I couldn't play sports anymore after I got crippled. I used to play soccer. I used to walk and run. When I say walk, I go on several hour hikes just to go get out in the world, in the fresh air, and let my mind go. And I've talked to too many other people that have said the same thing, that it's they're not being inspired anymore. That that's why they go back to the older stuff, the old media, to enjoy it, to read something that inspires them to be better than themselves, to push themselves harder. Everything nowadays has just gotten so dark and dank that, oh, we're trying to catch a modern audience when you're actually running off the audience you've already got.
The problem is that the companies that own the comic book companies, that own the production companies and own these they're seeing this loud, obnoxious viewpoint by a minority, and they believe that the louder the viewpoint, the more likely they're going to make money off of it, because everybody sees the loudness. And so and from there they think that that's going to be even you hear the people this the go woke go broke conversation all the time, but the problem is they ignore that statement because they as far as they're concerned, well, one loud person has got everybody in an uproar, and so the numbers are showing that because the one side says something loud and obnoxious that's obviously distracting from the point of the storyline to now aggravating the other side. And now you have a bunch of people who are like, you're ruining my IPs. You see this a lot in the gaming industry and the comic books and movies, and they're like, well, if you don't like it, you're obviously a bigoted racist or something. But no, your cause when you change the IP or you grab these things and grab people's histories, you're going to scare people off. But at the same time, they don't understand because it is bringing in numbers in the discourse, and that's all they care about. Is if we can bring in immediate numbers on day one. Take for example the Snow White movie with the woman who shall not be named. Only reason why it made any money at first for the very limited run that it was on was because everybody was mad about it, and people ended up going in, well, we're going to make you mad about it, we're going to come in, we're going to make content off of being mad about it, and there you go, we've made a buttload of money off of you being angry. So sorry, I have
Yeah. Well, we've had that conversation. In fact, Wavo, we've been over onto his channel and did a whole, what was it, an hour and a half talking about it, and it was funny as heck because he called it the mocking, and we mocked the heck out of it.
Oh, so funny.
And but yeah, I mean, I'm
Y'all talking about Snow White?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or
Oh, well, just
cardboard.
talking about media in particular. And Snow
Yeah.
White was just the example.
Well, I've taken to calling it Cardboard Brown and the Seven Garden Gnomes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Snow White was just used as a example to the conversation.
Oh yeah. Now, next up, we're going to go ahead and say our goodbyes to Roger Sweet, the creator of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, and Gary Conway. Gary Conway was one of the creators of the Punisher, Ben Reilly, aka the Scarlet Spider. He co-created Firestorm and Jason Todd, and he's the one who wrote The Night That Gwen Stacy Died. And we lost the two of them this past week. Wavo's the one that brought the Roger Sweet to my attention. So, Wavo, you want to tell people about it? Oh, I guess he's away from the board right now. But yeah, these guys created heroes that inspired people. One of the kids that I grew up with collected everything He-Man and Masters of the Universe. He even collected the She-Ra stuff, all because it was associated with He-Man.
Right. Well, fortunately, we didn't lose Roger Sweet young. You know, he stayed until he was 91 years old. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I aspire anybody should aspire to living a nice long life like that and being able to give us like 3 generations worth of content. Just saying, I'm minimum 3 generations worth of content. You know, you had the 70s, 80s, and today, and you know, still helping us put together a lot of content that you got. And Roger Sweet, on top of Masters of the Universe, created a bunch of other franchises as well that was under the Mattel label. Also, a few of the franchises that were also under the labels for Hasbro. So, you know, pretty much when it came down to advertising in cartoon media, which everybody's, if you ever hear the conversation, well, most of your cartoons back in the 80s and 90s were just long commercials. Roger Sweet gave us the reason to understand these long commercials, gave us the reason to sit down and watch these cartoons, like Masters of the Universe and cartoons based off of Mattel toys that wouldn't have had lore in the first place if not for him.
Yeah, and that's the part that a lot of people don't get. I mean, my baby sister and I we talked about GI Joe a lot, and the GI Joe cartoon that was made for advertising the toy line got fleshed out in the comic books written by Larry Hama, and he is in. If you guys can pray for him too, because he's been having health issues, and he's not been getting the royalties he should be getting from either Hasbro or from Marvel Comics, because the dude is a Vietnam vet that's up in there in age, who really should be taking it easy at this point in his life, but he's still out there having to hustle to cover his medical expenses, and which is messed up. The only good thing about it is the fact that he's doing the hustling, and it's just got wrapped up a Kickstarter to make sure all of the comic books are published in a compendium, and I backed it, and cool boy, even just as doing it as a digital, it was over $150, just the digital level. If I'd done the physical, that'd be like $500 to $600.
Whoa.
Yeah, and my baby sister and I basically, I was like, I kind of figured if I did the physical, I wouldn't have it anymore because you'd come up here and take it. And she giggles and says, "Yeah, but I could come and take it while you're asleep, and you'd never know." I'm like, "Well, that's not saying much, because when I'm asleep, you could have came in here with an army playing as big brass band and take it, and I wouldn't wake up." And she's like, "Yeah, that's true." So I'm like, I know which battles I can win, so I know which battles not to fight. Know your limitations, guys and gals, and everything in between, and pick your fights accordingly. That's the only way to do it. But I mean, they created some heroes that inspired people, and it really is sad that so many of the creators that created so much, we're losing them because it's that time, and their time. We're only given a certain amount of time in this life, and even if you do live to be 90, still your time is limited. It's like with Dick Van Dyke, man. I'm terrified of every day of turning the TV on and finding, or the computer on and finding out that Dick Van Dyke has passed. That man has given.
Life is like once you start hitting a certain age, and to reference both a comic book character and the tontines that people take part in, you got your Deadpool. And you are on that list, and you're counting down on every day. Now, while the character in the movies regarding Deadpool, they kind of put him change his lore to be named after a tontine. But for those people who don't know, that's when people bet on when you're going to go. They did it with what's her name from the Golden Girls?
Betty White.
Betty White. And right now, if you go to like there's these current events gambling sites, kind of like it's more like stock investing, less than gambling, but they're like, when is Dick Van Dyke gonna pass away? And people are gambling on that kind of stuff, and it's sad. And when it comes down to living a life though of 90 plus years old and making content for multiple generations of our people, though, when you think about it, you're only lucky to do that. And there are small creators out there, as you were talking about, even older creators who are going back out there creating new works, trying to make omnibuses and trying to make their underground comic book series, and trying to produce these things. And they're using GoFundMe and these Kickstarters and member only campaigns to be able to afford a very limited run print or a digital. And you know, when I said earlier in chat, I said I never really was able to get into indie comics unless there was something that were given to me, because you had to know somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody. Getting these indie comics, to me, they're much more important than getting something from Marvel or DC, even though you're pretty much going there every week to get them. Because these indie comics, for example, these people who are making the content out of their own pocket, when they have to pay their rent, they have to pay for medical expenses, they have to pay for food, they have to pay for these other things, and they still manage to get out an indie comic. You know how much going to a print shop costs nowadays?
Oh yeah.
I looked into it.
I mean, I used to go to print shops all the time to get flyers made up for my DJ work, and that was an arm and a leg. Now imagine getting those that bound up and doing it monthly on a piece of content, and then deciding, oh well, I got to draw my characters, my storyline, I have to continue my storyline out, and no backing whatsoever except from those few people who are going to buy my indie, or those people who are going to supply to the Kickstarter. It is absolutely crazy. And so like when people are like, yeah, it's going to cost like $500 per donation to the Kickstarter. Well, why does it cost that much? Because nobody else is going to be able to pay for it. And most likely your artist does not have that kind of money off the bat to go to a print shop, have a print run of about 5,000 copies, so that way he can go to every Comic-Con in his in the area to sell those at less than market value.
Yep. And
it's
so expensive. I mean, I've been working on the Queensman project. And one of the things I do at HeroCon is I talk to people trying to gauge the page rates for the artists and for the writers and editors and everything else. And I've got a really good contact at Heroic Publishing, and I'm hoping to be able to do some work with them. Because when I showed off the Queensman to him, he was like, "That's pretty damn good." And Zachary says, "Hey, could ever do a crossover with American Patriot and Liberty Girl?" And Mr. Malone said, "Yeah, contact me and we'll see what we can do." So I've got my fingers crossed on that one. I just need to come up with a decent storyline to send him. But these creators that have given us so much, and they're in their golden years, and it's sad that some of the best creators, their time is running out because they're aging out of the system, and there's not really that many younger creators in the system that could pick up that slack. There's too many Tumblrites that are not. I'm sorry, they're not really that serious when it comes to in the comic book industry. They're more focused on being activists first than storytellers, and that's one of those things that really gets me. It's like the people who like to attack Chuck Dixon. Chuck Dixon is a conservative, but he's also one of the best writers on the Batman. He's also a big supporter of the Second Amendment, but he never put that into the Batman character because Batman is notoriously anti-gun, and he stayed truthful to the Batman character when he wrote for Batman. The problem is a lot of the modern writers aren't being true to the core character of the characters they're supposed to be writing for. And it's it's frustrating. I love comics. Marvel and DC comics are some of my favorites. And to have such a hard time finding stories that are inspiring and are creative and make you want to come back for more, it's next to impossible to find them in the modern day. You can only tear down characters so many times before you've destroyed them so completely nobody wants to read them anymore.
I agree. And then after they've realized that that character was damaged beyond repair, the concept of the overdone concept of, okay, we're going to reboot.
Yes.
And then the problem is with these characters that are being rewritten, rebooted continuously, is that now certain case scenarios, do they have a character Bible where you have everything when it comes down to what you call anchor canon that will always be the same in every lore. When you start rebooting and rewriting and retconning and continuous changes of a character to the point of destruction of an IP, you end up not being able to keep, well, what is the anchor canon? What is the piece? And they actually make fun of this in the Spider-Man Into the Universe character when they talk about anchor beings.
Yep.
A lot of the Marvel lore, they kind of make fun of it because it's like, okay, well, this version of Wolverine, this version of Spider-Man is an anchor being. They, in other words, Uncle Ben always has to die.
Mm-hmm.
And when you retcon it and now Aunt May dies, there was never an Uncle Ben. You've destroyed that complete storyline. While people are like, oh, well, this is the best Spider-Man that there was, and you are wrong. You are taking part in an alternate universe, what we if you're in the DC fandom, call a Elseworld storyline. It's not legit. You're looking at a destroyed, idolized by woke values in order to change a character storyline and destroy it. And now you've not only taken that, but you've taken the character Bible that has all of these anchor characteristics from the anchor canon, and you've destroyed it. And people from are picking and choosing which versions of a character that they want to sit there and like.
Mm.
Well, that's not my Spider-Man. Well, I'm sorry. That's like those people who go about and say, well, Trump's not my president. Well, he's everybody's president. Deal with it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry. I have a huge rant about that, and we can get into it later.
Hey,
Well,
I get it. Go for it, Casey.
Well, I gotta say something. When I was a kid, I was growing up during all this time when people were saying, toy cartoons are nothing but toy commercials. But you know what? As I've gotten older and my finances have gotten, well, shall we say, less than optimal, I gotta tell you, looking back on it now, I say if somebody is people are creating something that people enjoy, that people could sit down and watch, if they didn't have any other role model in their life to deal with, and I know there were people that didn't. My thing is, why shouldn't they make money off of it? Why shouldn't the company that's putting out, because a lot of this money that was put out to do these shows were done by the toy companies themselves. So if Hasbro is willing to make a multi-million-dollar gamble on something, put out a toy line, why shouldn't they have the greatest possible chance of recouping their money? It's called capitalism, people. It's a system that works, has worked, and will work if we get back to it and allow it to do what it does best.
Yep. Innovate, innovate, innovate.
Yeah.
And if you're putting out something that people want, they're going to give you money, which means you keep putting out what they want and they'll keep buying it. It's one of the reasons why the current system is so broken. They keep putting stuff out nobody wants.
The problem with the current system, with you having mentioned that, and it's a fact what you're saying, and it's gotten to the point where the system, take for example Disney, Warner Brothers, even Paramount, they all have gotten to the point where they're saying it doesn't matter if you want it, you're going to pay for it anyway.
Yeah.
And so you get down to this this thing, and I talk to my people in the Magic the Gathering community all the time about this, when they're like, oh, you're damaging my lore, you're doing this, you're doing that, there shouldn't be crossovers between Transformers and Magic the Gathering, there shouldn't be the Simpsons secret layer set that they're talking about putting out, all that stuff that they're that they complain about, but you're gonna get it anyway. Why? Because most likely your lore to your toy is owned by a toy company, and from there you're gonna buy it anyway because you have that FOMO. You have to have it. The same reason why everybody, like when they did the Final Fantasy drop, everybody spent every single last dime on it because it was Final Fantasy, and if you don't get it, you're gonna miss out, because you're going to buy it anyway. So it doesn't matter what they give you in schlock. As long as you keep on spending your money on crap, they're going to give it to you. And they're going to give you crap even a bigger pile the next time, just because you spent your money on it the first time.
Yeah.
Insist that they do better. Don't spend a dime again until they do better. Well, how am I supposed to know if they're going to do better if I didn't spend my money on it? Well, that's because somebody else will have shown it to you and given you a free copy of it. And then the next time around, you'll see that if they didn't do well enough where somebody's going to say, hey, this is shit, you can watch it free here, then you're going to find out that they didn't do better, and you won't spend your money on it the next time. Vote with your wallet. Don't give them your money, and don't allow them to produce bullcrap.
Yep. See, one of the things that Razor Fist had a video about where he was talking about this, and he is a major collector of his favorite character of Daredevil. And he was talking about his Daredevil collection has a great big giant hole in it shaped like Mark Waid. Because the Mark Waid run on Daredevil, he refused to buy it. And he was a completist, except when it came to the Mark Waid run. And
when it comes to FOMO,
yeah,
I have no FOMO myself because especially when it comes to things like Star Wars and stuff like that, I do not give a shit.
Yep.
Where the last thing Star Wars put out that I genuinely cared about was Rogue One, and that was only because it had a solid place in the timeline.
Hey, Kevin.
But for me, the last Star Wars thing I genuinely cared about to any genuine capacity was the Rogue Squadron and Shadows of the Empire video games.
Cuervo, can I ask you a question? Since you're a gamer, weren't you at all upset though because Rogue One You know, when I was expecting Rogue One to come out, I was really upset. I loved the movie, by the way, and I loved where they went with it with Andor. But the problem was, weren't you upset? Because I was upset that they didn't go the storyline from the Rogue One video game.
I didn't even know there was a Rogue One video game.
Yeah, they didn't even go with the storyline from that.
Ugh.
Which also led to not a graphic, a mini novel, a novelette from the Star Wars line. I was kind of upset that they didn't go with it, and I'm like, you know, there was a whole storyline with that video game that they could have went with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Now,
I wish they
no,
would have done the Rogue Squadron movie when they had the chance to do it.
Oh, another
I'm
video game movie
honestly,
that they should have done. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm honestly glad they didn't because they would have done the same thing with it that Cowboy Dan just described with Rogue One.
Well,
They
but
would
at
have
least
They
they would have
they
done the movie and
they
then
used the
had
name,
nothing.
but it had nothing to do with the game, though, which bothered me. You know,
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean, it was a
the
good
Rogue.
movie. They
I
just
know
called it something else.
there was a talk well before they sold to Disney that they was pushing to do a Rogue Squadron movie with the actor that played Wedge Antilles uh, reprising his role in a movie, and they did the prequels. So because there was talk for that. I can't
Yeah, it was
remember
supposed to
what
be an
the-
animated movie, from what I remember.
I think it was going to be animated.
Yeah, it was supposed to be an animated movie in the style of the. They were going to do it as a feature-length animated movie in the style of the Clone Wars TV series, not the cartoon version, but the CG one.
Honestly, that I feel would have been better because I've always held that they have put more effort into the animated series and stuff like that than they ever did in live action. There's
The
yeah,
series,
naturally there's wokeness in it. It's Disney, of course there is, but it doesn't in your face with it. You
Well,
have
the
to
Clone Wars was before Disney. The
Yeah.
Clone Wars was a thing before Disney took over, so there wasn't. It was the standard sci-fi stuff that you get, you know, all over the
Yeah.
place in sci-fi. I mean, when you're considering like the PC of and pretty much even then it wasn't really wokeness, it was more political correct, because remember, wokeness is just weaponized political correctness.
Yeah.
Now so when we're looking at like what Lucas was doing back in the early 2000s and late 90s to in an effort, because 1999 he brought back with the Phantom Menace, right? So like that was like the bring back, and everybody was excited. Before that, he was just remastering upon remastering, and then deciding, do we want Han to shoot first or do we want Greedo to shoot first, and changing that. You know, that was that was the difference at the time, right? Where now you look at it, right, and you're like, okay, if they would have made these changes now, that the changes that they made now, then that wouldn't have flown, and immediately Lucas would have been out of business. Now, but then nowadays you have companies like, unfortunately, companies like Sweet Baby Inc. and whatnot, that's sitting there blackmailing producers, blackmailing gaming companies, blackmailing movie companies. In order to make the weaponized political correctness of a film, and you don't get your games that were good remade into good movies. And well, Assassin's Creed, yeah. Thank you, Swollen. Like Assassin's Creed, everybody loved that, and then they just changed it because, and if you didn't like the change, they made awesome backgrounds, some awesome work, and then the character design.
Well, to be fair, video game based movies, even way back in the 80s, video game based movies have always sucked.
Well, just about anything based off of existing pop culture, like comic book movies, always sucked back then. Video game movies always sucked. Um, you know, uh, 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 it's
Like
because
it wasn't until like the first video game based movie I personally ever heard of that I heard was actually any good was Final Fantasy Advent Children,
right.
and
So
even that I got I heard mixed reviews on.
So when you are when you're talking about movies, excluding Disney, now legitimate movie companies that don't make money off of kids, Disney's always had that model for making money off of kids. So we're going to eliminate Disney from this conversation for once. In the word, in a we never do, but
Yeah,
we will today. So excluding Disney from the conversation, every single film company out there, for the most part, wants to make a movie that will involve an adult. You take your kids to the movie, so it has to have something that's going to involve the adult. A single mother is going to be taking her kids to the movie, so it's got to have like some sort of romance feature. A single father is going to have to bring this kid to the movie because it's going to have to. So it's going to have like some sort of action sequence, so that way, you can have a reason to talk to your kid about like positive male attributes and vice versa. So, and when it comes down to then, you want to also make a movie that like parents can go see on their own without their kids. And, and those movies, when you're seeing these pieces of what I like to call nostalgic flashbacks of when we were young being made for us to also bring our kids to and also watch on our own, they don't work out very well. Why? Because the production companies don't have faith in something that they can put out there that's good content that's also based off of a video game. Most video games don't really have much in legitimate lore. I mean, imagine if they made a Missile Command movie. It's like, what's the lore for Missile Command? Well, there's not really much. You just use your ball mouse and put your little marks on the screen and hope that bombs hit that.
Now, are we talking the original Missile Command for the Atari or the crappy remake they did a few years later? Because there was a Missile Command remake.
Yeah, there was. I'm talking about from the Atari.
Yeah.
When you're coming out with games, I mean, like, really, was there lore to Pac-Man? Very little until like they did the remakes and the Pac-Man Jr. And
the cartoon.
Eventually the cartoon back in the late 80s, early 90s. But like for like 30 years, there was very limited lore. I mean, there was Pac-Man, then there was Miss Pac-Man. Okay, we got these ghosts. Those ghosts, either the bad guys or he's the bad guy, one of the two, depending on how you looked at it. And then you had Miss Pac-Man, then Baby Pac-Man. So obviously the Pac family. And then all of a sudden the Pac-Man cartoon came out in the late 80s and 90s. Sorry, I'm on a roll here. But there was very little lore. And these things don't make money because they, when they see video games, first thing a production company says, okay, this is a video game, this is a comic book, this is a cartoon. It doesn't matter if it's from our nostalgia, the adult, they're going to sell it to the kids because, okay, the only way we're going to make money off of a game or a video game or a comic book or a cartoon from then is to sell product now. So if I can't put it in a vacuum sealed plastic with a piece of cardboard on the back and have a little thumbprint hole in it so that way it can hang on a hook in a store, your product is not going to be sold in a movie theater.
Yeah. Well, you want to hear something funny since we brought up the Pac-Man cartoon? If you want to watch Wavo fall to the ground and start doing the funky chicken, the Rubik's Cube cartoon. Yeah.
There was a Rubik's Cube cartoon.
Yes, Rubik's. I showed
How?
And you were like, oh my God, what the hell is this? What have I watched? Zachary was in the chat losing his ever-loving mind going, you have scarred me. You have scarred me.
I forgot about that.
Yes. That's how bad it messed you up.
In 1983, it was a half an hour show.
Yes.
It was It was part of the Saturday morning lineup, and this Rubik's, it was like a little blue alien who was whose face was in a Rubik's cube.
Well,
Fever
suffice
dream.
it to
He
say,
just brought back a fever dream memory.
suffice it to say, there's a reason we call them repressed memories.
Yes. Now, one thing I will give for that cartoon was the fact it was the first cartoon that had main characters that were Hispanic and that were extremely positive light. I enjoyed that part of it. To me, Rubik's Cube was one of those cartoons. Nobody really talked about it on the school bus because nobody was really into it except for playing the Rubik's Cube thing. So nobody would sit and watch it, except for my sisters wanting to watch it.
Yeah.
Because
It was part. I'm looking it up right now in Saturday Morning Archive. Looking at trying to remember some of as the fever dreams keep on coming back really quick. It was part of the Pac-Man Alvin and the Chipmunks hour on Saturday morning cartoons. Which was a 2-hour block featuring Pac-Man, Rubik the Amazing Cube, Alvin and the Chipmunks, and other cartoons. And it just says and other cartoons. I don't know why it's not showing the fourth one, but maybe they.
I was gonna say Alvin and the Chipmunks, but that was actually a pretty good show.
Yeah.
It always. My middle name is Alvin, and up until I hit junior high school, that was the only name people knew me by. And I was always getting the question of where is Simon and Theodore, to which I learned how to respond going, I have no idea where they took off with all our money. Last I heard, they were on Fiji snorting coke off of a hooker's belly button. The funny thing
where else would you snort coke? Come on.
Exactly.
Just saying. I mean, not a belly button, but Fiji is one place that you would. So, and hooker's belly button, but that's not a location. That's just.
But like I said, that's how the VA knows it's me. Is whenever they contact me and says, "Can you give us your date of birth?" And I tell them my date of birth, and I say, "And before you ask, no, I have no idea where Simon and Theodore took off with all the money." And the person on the other side, once they wait, what? And I'm like, read my full name. And they read my full name. They go, oh, so I am talking with Mr. Spade. Because they get it. But yeah, I loved Saturday morning cartoons. It's one of the reasons why I want to do a Saturday morning cartoon Let's Talk, where we talk about these cartoons that our generation got bound up in.
And the thing about the Saturday morning cartoons, which brings us back to everybody nowadays are nostalgic about a lot of these things. Back in the 80s, we had our own version of the Comics Authority, which was kind of like for cartoons, where they didn't want us to use cartoons to promote product, but we were in the 80s, everything was friggin' product, right? And the fact of the matter is no matter how hard you try, if anybody thinks of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, I don't care in which rendition, even nowadays, it is a promotional commercial that's going to last 30 minutes to an hour for a Hasbro product. You want to talk about Ninja Turtles, I don't care in which format Ninja Turtles is, it is a promotional product in every form. Sure, people are going to think about the toys, but I'm going to think about, well, you're advertising my comic books by having a movie. You're not advertising a toy. I mean, the toy came out after the comic books. Now, even then, we're talking Star Wars. George Lucas, a year before A New Hope came out, had already released a line of toys a year before. So I mean, what was Star Wars and New Hope? Was that a promotional product for toys, or were the toys a promotional product for a movie?
Well, remember, when it came to Star Wars, George Lucas, the genius of Star Wars was the fact that he kept the toy rights to the movie. so much so, just like with J.K. Rowling's, they had to completely rethink contracts with the people that they were working with because of what George Lucas did with Star Wars and the
Yeah,
toy
unfortunately,
rights.
he doesn't own the toy rights anymore, though.
No, the toy rights I think are still part of.
Yeah, he
He
doesn't
does
have the
get
toy rights.
royalties, but
He
that's
gets royalties, but he doesn't own the toy rights anymore.
because Hasbro, thanks to Kathleen Kennedy's mismanagement, Hasbro's actually been talking about getting out of the toy manufacturing business. That's still one of those stories that I'm like,
Well,
you gotta be shitting me.
Hasbro's they're going to expand. They've been cutting like the physical toys down. Like people aren't buying as much because of the digital era. But Hasbro being one of the top 5 toy manufacturers in the country, I was part of this huge debate recently in the Magic the Gathering circuit because of Hasbro's mini lawsuit that's been going on lately regarding their investors. As long as there are children, Hasbro will stay in the toy manufacturing. It's just,
Well,
what do they define as a toy? Like physical toys will be brought down in the amount of sales, just as but they're going to print or produce more of it in one single run. That's going to change their business model.
yeah. Well, one of the things that the guys that I know that work at Hasbro was talking about the fact that most of the toys that they're selling are collectibles now.
Right. Well, they're trying to gear the collectibles. See, that's the problem. And with and I'm going to let you continue on here. They have a problem with this because they want to sell to the collectors because the collectors are going to spend more money on it, but they have to keep to their business model and overprint those collectibles, which make them less of a collectible. Sorry, continue.
Well, anyway, next up, we still got the Kuskukoko family. You know, their indictment for their attack on Savannah Hernandez. I'm looking at that, and like it or not, a reporter reporting, you don't just walk up behind them and punch them in the back. And I think it's hilarious that these lefty loons are screaming about the fact that it's not fair that they're being indicted and punished physically assaulting somebody.
Well, they did catch him on camera, even talking about it beforehand.
Yes.
Yeah, Christopher Ostruco.
He was talking about, oh, my daughter's going over there. She's gone over there to go telling them what to do.
Yeah, Christopher Ostruco, Diana Ostruco, Paige Ostruco.
Yes.
Right.
And the fact that these are some of the same people that like walking up to reporters and taking air horns and putting it in people's ears and setting off those air horns.
They think that's freedom of speech too, and I'm sorry, when you use an item, that's assault. It's not freedom of speech, because speech has to come out of your mouth or written or in sign language. But when you're using a device that amplifies sound, it is no longer freedom of speech, because that is weaponized. And just like
cause damage.
There's a reason why DJs are constantly hired at rallies. Pretty much, they pay the DJs extra to violate sound ordinances, and in order to have the DJ be able to cover the fines that they did. I've done a lot of protests back when I was helping Southern California. When I lived in Southern California, I was helping them legalize marijuana back in the day. And what we'd do is we'd be hired out, and we'd bring as many speakers as we possibly can, exceed the noise ordinance by 3 times the allowed noise ordinance, and weaponize the audio. They'd weaponize the audio, and that was the whole point. And they did the same thing with bands back in the 60s and 70s. They'd weaponize bands to protest. Woodstock was a weaponized music to protest. Yeah, pretty much. The left is very much known for weaponizing audio. So much, in fact, that our government has on many times fought back with the. Have you heard of these sound
The
devices that
sound
they
wave
can
device, yeah.
sound wave devices. They kind of displayed it in the Incredible Hulk when it was just science fiction, but it's real now. They actually have these devices that they can take quiet sound and blare it at you. Also, like the thought process of the brown sound. If you ever heard of the brown noise,
Oh
look it
yeah.
up. It's a real thing, and you can actually weaponize audio. And that's what we
Yeah.
used to do back in the DJ days. Is we used to weaponize audio, and they still do it now. But now you can buy yourself these little tiny handheld uh, megaphones that only they used to have at schools, and blow people's eardrums out.
Mm.
Yeah, and if they ever tried
Sorry.
that with me, and if they did it on my left side, and I killed them in response to it, I would not spend a day in jail
Yeah.
because
But
it would be self defense for me because I've got nerve damage in my left ear that if anybody, if you're lucky enough to have tinnitus and it's that noise,
the ringing sound of C sharp in your ear.
Oof.
yeah, you're lucky
Yep. Yep.
because
I have had that has been a constant companion to me for the last 20 years.
you are lucky because the nerve damage I have on my left side, whenever I have a tinnitus attack on my left side, it is not noise that I hear. I have pain. It feels like somebody just shoved a white hot poker into my ear. And the doctors have put this in my medical record that the only way to fix it is to cut that nerve and leave me deaf in my left ear. So my biggest fear, other than me having one of my minor mall seizures on a live stream, is to have a tinnitus attack while I'm doing a live stream. I do not want people to see that. My lock-in seizures, I don't want people to see that either. Thankfully, I've not had a lock-in seizure for 6 months now, and before I had that one, it had been over 2.5 years. So I'm hoping that I can keep that from happening. But my tinnitus attacks, they happen a heck of a lot more often whenever I'm exposed to really, really loud noises. And I do not want that shit. No, 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 no. You do not want that. Nope, 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 nope. No.
Yeah. Tinnitus is very commonly seen amongst people who were in entertainment venues. Also, those who have worked in manufacturing facilities, and also most commonly tinnitus is found from those people who were in the military,
Yes.
particularly those in the military roughly about the times when you more likely to have feet on the ground. So you're going to have like World War II veterans would have had tinnitus and not known it. You were getting a lot more examples of people with tinnitus back after Vietnam. They came back from Vietnam. In particular, Vietnam had one of the highest tinnitus highest count of people from the military coming back home with tinnitus. And then once again, like any military person who's been in a situation where there's feet on the ground because there's multiple guns going off and type of things, where you see like entertainers constantly getting tinnitus because most entertainers they're in a venue that has screaming people. You have their music trying to once again go so much louder than they can, so that way they can out music the sounds that the screaming people are making. Then you have those same musicians are sitting in studios wearing headphones. Headphones are actually a big cause of tinnitus because you're putting those speakers right upon your ears. For those people who use, I recently saw this thing. People who have been using earbuds over the last decade have been being diagnosed with tinnitus because they use their earbuds at a level that's way too loud for their ears to be, and those are even closer to your eardrums. So you end up getting the sound of C sharp, which is the common sound of tinnitus, and yeah,
it's not fun, man. It's just not fun. But
and
anyway, these guys are the indictment that came down today. They're acting like, oh, we didn't do nothing wrong. We got you on video, bitch. Don't drop the soap.
Three individuals were indicted by the grand jury for allegedly, because it's just an indictment right now. They're allegedly assaulted the journalist from Turning Point USA contributors, particularly Savannah Hernandez, while she was lawfully reporting an anti-ICE protest. Now, it doesn't matter. See, this is the problem with these half of these Karen type people is they don't want anybody reporting it, even their own side. I've seen that they've been attacking leftist journalists as well, because if you don't have like these. Like particularly Antifa, they don't want anybody reporting them. They don't want the leftist journalists reporting Antifa. They don't want the right journalists on the right reporting it, because if they can't control their own narrative, and they can't, they know they can't control the people on the left, because the people on the left, they're going to go where the money is, and Antifa, they can, from what I've read, they're having to bring in homeless people to protest for them because they're running out of money.
Yep.
So, when you have a terrorist organization that has no funding,
it doesn't go good.
It doesn't go good. And you can't, so what they're doing is they're attacking the journalists, because the journalists are after the money. They're going to make the reporting that they're going to report what they're being paid to report. After all, most journalists work for an organization that have sponsorships, commercials. And if anybody knows anything about the entertainment industry, you do not make content, report or whatever, on something that doesn't pay.
All right, hold on for a second, guys. We just got an update from Marcelo. Hasn't made it. He had to take his dad to a doctor's appointment today. They just got back home. They've rescheduled his surgery. So, guys, keep Marcelo and his dad in y'all's prayers. They might be having to replace one of his lenses in his eye. So yeah, everybody pray for Marcelo and his dad, okay? But yes, like you were saying, Dan, this is ridiculous. The violence is getting worse. It's going to keep getting worse. It's not going to change until the leadership on the left stops stoking these fires, and if they don't stop, it's going to get out of hand.
Well, this is a thing that my girlfriend and I are at odds about, because she is on the opposing side of this argument where the whole ICE needs to be stopped no matter what thing. And what people don't understand is, yes, if they are breaking the law, then if they are breaking the law, the ones who are breaking the law should be brought to justice. But most of these people that are protesting them aren't protesting. Because what they're doing cannot be considered as protesting, because it is causing violence. It is causing death, destruction of property, doxing.
Absolutely.
All of these things are against the law.
Right. And so you have states like California, for example, California, Minnesota, Illinois. So these states have now passed laws that says that law enforcement. They just passed this law in California. Obviously, there's nothing they can do about it, and the law enforcement has stepped aside in California, as we saw last week. But Gavin Newsom passed an executive order in California that anybody that is displaying ice on their clothing as an employee, a federal government employee, should be arrested on site, according to Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, it's
News
not
drone.
good.
You know, and so like you have states that are saying you work for ICE, you're going to be arrested on site. They even passed a similar. The governor of Illinois did the same thing, and also Minnesota, Tim Walz. When's he going to jail? You know.
Yeah.
You know, but he's also got a
And then
temporary
they-
law in Minnesota saying the same thing.
Well, I'm looking at all this stuff that's been coming out. I mean, the Southern Poverty Law Center stuff. We're going to probably end up doing a deep dive on that whenever we can get Marcelo and Crazy on at the same time, to where we can do a 2-hour deep dive. And I'm still trying to find a copy of the grand jury findings like we've had in other cases. There is a big deep dive that's going to be coming up. Kermit Gosnell died in prison. And for those of you who don't know who Kermit Gosnell is, Google him. They actually made a movie called Gosnell about this guy. He is the most prolific serial killer in modern times. He was not part of the Planned Parenthood organization. He was an independent operator there in Philadelphia. The case was so messed up bad that the court, when it got started, they left the 3 front rows empty just for for journalists, because of just how messed up what they were seeing was, and the judge wanted to make sure that the journalists could get in there. And there was this, I can't remember her name, but there was this extreme feminist left wing reporter who felt that the right wing was overblowing the case, and she went for the first day and saw this, and saw that the only journalists that showed up were quote unquote right wingers that had showed up for it. And she literally went from being a pro-abortion, no limits on abortion at all, to actually coming out and saying, no, there does need to be some limitations placed on abortion because of what Gosnell was doing. It was a house of horrors. There were the police and the CSI people who went into his clinic. They had to hire special counselors to help with the post-traumatic stress disorder these men and women got from investigating that clinic. And we've all heard about abortion Barbie down in Texas in her pink tennis shoes that was filibustering all these attempts to stop something like that from happening in Texas, because unfortunately there was a doctor there in Texas who was doing it. And because of the news that got out about the Gosnell case, some of the nurses that weren't even trained nurses that were performing abortions saw what happened at the Gosnell place, and they actually went to the police and told them, hey, We never went to school for this, and they've got us doing the same things, which was breaking the law. And they tried to make sure something like that couldn't happen anymore in Texas, and Abortion Mart filibustered it. And like I said, that's going to be a deep dive that we'll have over on Rumble, because even just mentioning it on this in this limited amount, I'm afraid they might take my channel down here on YouTube. It's just Google it, guys and gals, and everything in between. But I'll warn you, it will give you nightmares when you read the grand jury findings. It was bad. It was so horrible that words don't cover it. There's a special place in hell for the people who do the types of shit that went on in that house of horrors. But anyway, Pop Culture Breakdown is getting started, and I want to go ahead and at least hit one of these two stories: the assassination attempt during the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and the fallout that's coming out of that. We've actually got people saying it was all staged. We've got people we're calling for this type of stuff now sitting there going, I never said that. And then you replay them actually saying somebody needs to do this.
Oh God, yeah. There's been some nice mashups of that.
Yeah, we got to get deal with Kimmel and a few other people who's been doing it.
Yes.
Pretty much. I'm kind of. I had to deal with this this week regarding this whole situation. People
you were
on the
saying
internet.
That, was it on your Twitter that you had to do it?
Yeah, on my Twitter X. So I got tired of seeing these people complaining, and I found out like a handful of my peoples were trying to glorify the potential potential assassination, and they were mad that it didn't happen. And they were saying how mad they didn't happen. And I just okay, I do not approve of it. First of all, I have to hear it from a few people in my community when they took Charlie Kirk away from the world. And I'm sorry, when you take a minister down, you take somebody who's ministering the word of God because you don't like what he has to say. And you take matters into your own hand, what you consider vigilante justice, which is actually just murder. I blocked a bunch of people, and I got rid of a bunch of people. So this time around, I was just being lenient because there was no murder. I just didn't want to see the complaining about he didn't get killed in my timeline. So I just deleted a bunch of people who I was following that I had mutual followerships with. I got an email to my personal email, not to my Twitter, but to my personal email, which I immediately just ignored. And I stewed on it for a whole day. And then I decided to leave this message on my, as a post last night on my Twitter. I said, yes, I had to read this to you. So that way you guys can see exactly what I said. Okay. I said, to answer your question, yeah, I unfollowed you, and I unfollowed you on purpose. Your content crossed a line, especially the part where you were upset where somebody didn't get killed. That's just not negativity, but it's wishing harm against another human being. And I don't entertain that thought.
Yeah. I'm the same way. And I've actually had rants about this on here before. I don't care what side of what aisle you're on. As soon as I hear you start talking about how much you hate this person, how much you want this person to die, you immediately lose all respect. I will leave the conversation if I hear people start doing that.
Right.
I have in the past left communities that I was a deep, important part of because of that.
That is the next part of my statement that I posted on Twitter, by the way. So the next part of the statement was, I'm intentional about the space I build. I treat my community like a garden. What goes in there matters. Vegetation, stuff that will grow and thrive, a community that will succeed. When I see something that shows up rooted in hate, i.e., weeds, I will make sure that I pluck it. I do not argue with it. I do not debate it. I will pull you, the weed, from my community, remove you. Now, I will not take physical action against you. I will just mark you. I will verify you, and I will. Here's the important part. I will make sure that you are tagged. I ended up taking certain parts of that out just so that way, because you only can do so much on Twitter without people just like losing interest in your long rants. So but I will remove you. But to be honest, I will report you to the admins, the AI. If the AI guardian, the AI admin is going to erase channels for things, most likely on a whim. Yeah, most likely they're just the smallest little report's going to get people's channels booted. So you know what? I'm just going to just hit that report button. I don't need to have hate on my timeline. So
Nope.
I finalized it by no hard feelings. Its kind of energy does not have a place in my soil.
Yeah. I'm looking at it, it's getting to me because if you keep calling for violence and the violence keeps happening, something's got to stop. Somebody's got to go after these people calling for this stuff, because people say, "Oh, you can't scream fire in a crowded theater." Yes, you can if there's an actual fire. And for the past, I've been watching this stuff for over 50 years now. My earliest memories of watching TV and the news was watching the fall of Saigon and Nixon resigning and leaving the White House on Army One. Those are some of my earliest memories of watching TV. And I remember watching my dad as he watched the fall of Saigon and getting upset. And the fact that my mom had to take me out of the house because she knew my dad was about to start to cry, and that he did not like crying in public or anybody seeing him cry. And that hits really hard, because when I was in the hospital in a coma, my mom said that he couldn't enter my room in the ICU. Instead, he stood at the door and cried in front of God and everybody. So yeah, that's a memory that'll always carry with me. And
It's a strong memory too, right? I mean, think about it. I remember watching. I was a kid at the time, but I remember watching the clips on the news because my grandmother would had the news on like 4 times a day, and I remember like before I was allowed to watch my Saturday morning cartoons or my Sunday morning cartoons, she was watching Rush Limbaugh all the time because he had his show on, and I remember Rush and all the news organizations constantly showing that clip of Ronald Reagan getting almost getting shot or getting shot at by what's his name, the catcher in the
Hinckley.
Hinckley, thank you. And they kept on showing that video over and over again. That was like almost practically point blank. It was just right there within like less than a foot. And I remember seeing that. I mean, that just echoes through my head, and people are like, "Oh, Trump's the only one who's been shot at." And it's like, They tried to get Ronnie just as many times as they tried to get Trump.
I was surprised when Bradley finally passed away from his injuries. They didn't drag that dumbass back into court and try him for his murder because statute of limitations for what he did never runs the hell out, you know? But yeah, I mean, if you're calling for violence and you keep getting violence and you don't stop, something's got to stop, because this violence it's picking up. It's getting worse. And there was an Australian reporter was looking at all the statements that all this political violence was all right wing. So she actually went in and did the research. She actually went into the numbers, and she talked about the fact that the Summer of Love, all the violence that came from the Summer of Love from the left, did not get reported at all in these numbers. She was saying that a lot of the numbers that they were recording as right-wing violence was that if a white supremacist slapped his wife, that got recorded as political right-wing violence. If there was an Aryan, you know how you got the white Aryan nationalist gangs that make money by making meth, every time they would get arrested, that would be classified as politically motivated right-wing violence. And they had her.
It seems to me like whenever a criminal's arrested, they say it's politically right-wing violence. If a criminal of any kind, but the left, they love crime.
Well, I was watching the video earlier today where this woman was, because she was debating Geraldo Rivera over it. Because Geraldo was sitting there saying, this is equal sides. Equal sides are, both sides are guilty of it. And she basically said, no, here's the actual numbers. And she was going down these numbers of all the research that she did herself, of going in and looking at these numbers. And she, even at the end of it, was bringing up the fact that they were using numbers from the ADL and the Southern Poverty Law Center. And as we all know, what got released 1 week ago today, that the Southern Poverty Law Center got caught by the banks, not by the government, but by banks, setting up all the fraudulent paying off hate groups. And because there are people out there that were trying to say that, oh, this is just Trump going after his political enemies. No, this investigation got started by the bank.
They're going to always point a finger, though. You know, I mean, look at the thing with the Magic the Gathering lawsuit that was just dropped, and now they're going to reopen it. Where they discovered that Hasbro was embezzling. Well, not Hasbro, but the Wizards of the Coast executives, who Hasbro told to go business as usual as long as we make money. They were embezzling from the company, but then they decided to drop it because Bank of America has decided that they're going to take it to the SEC, and so people in a certain collectibles community that I'm part of want to blame right-wing business. And the fact of the matter is that if it's capitalism, it's right-wing business. But I'm sorry, it was a bunch of lefties and the who are running Wizards of the Coast into the ground that made these decisions. When the bank discovered these things and reported it to the investors, you know, Bank of America discovered it. And so the investors decided they wanted to sue. They dropped the lawsuit when they found out Bank of America was filing articles with the SEC. And we're going to be seeing something from that in the next year, hopefully. And I'll report on that through my Magic community, as I did previously when they first announced it.
Weren't they also overprinting.
Allegedly. Okay, so they were underprinting. Certain cards. They were overprinting other cards. They were pocketing other chase cards, and the okay. So Hasbro's business model is to make for 13 and up, not for the collector. While Hasbro is trying to become a collectibles company, their business model is not about collectibles. So they were underprinting for the Hasbro's purpose, and they were overprinting for the collector's purpose. There's a big old argument on what is overprinting and what is underprinting. The collector doesn't like to see you making a certain print number, and if you're selling to children of 13 years plus, people who are in the YouTube industry understand 13 and up is not about the adult; it's about the children. So when your primary venue that you're selling to is not the 45-year-olds that are collecting, your primary venue is the 13 plus. Look at the package on your toys. Look at it says intended for a certain age bracket. That is the age bracket that they are selling to. Whether or not they want to be a collectibles company or not, or whether or not people who are collecting the product, they're going to say that they're overprinting because they're collectors who are saying they're overprinting. The fact of the matter is Hasbro was not overprinting. They were doing exactly as the business model was. The problem was Wizards of the Coast. Wizards of the Coast, the same thing that we see with this situation that you were talking to, where the banks had found embezzlement. Okay, Wizards of the Coast, the CEOs at Wizards of the Coast, the officers there who were told by Hasbro to keep going business as usual as long as we keep making money. And unfortunately, Hasbro was stupid and didn't have oversight within that company. They decided to let them keep on going because they kept on seeing falsified quarterly reports. And so the bank saw something and reported it as fraudulent.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's pretty much how everything went. So, when the banks get into it, banks are considered right wing. Banks, because they control the money. Corporations, most of the part, as long as they care about what's being brought out, the big corporate America, the commies don't like corporate America because that's right wing. As long as anything that has more money than the Marxist communist nature, they're going to see it labeled as right wing. Even the as far as the communist Democrats are concerned, even the Democrats of society see the political Democrats as more right wing than they are because they are Marxists. And so it's like it all depends on how far to the right that you're willing to lean when you see that, and when we're talking about the extremists, we're talking about the communists, straightforward.
Yep. And I mean, look at Hassan Piker, man. That dude's.
I'd rather not. Thank you.
He just sucks.
He's one of those that literally he keeps calling for violence and keeps getting caught doing illegal shit, and nobody does nothing to him.
That's because okay, so Amazon owns Twitch. They have Dan Clancy, who's an open communist, and who's running the channel. While allegedly the CEO of Amazon is a Trump supporter, he still keeps Dan Clancy in there. It's like Disney owns Fox, but yet Fox News is supposed to be a Republican network. How can you trust a Republican network run by liberals?
Exactly.
Dan Clancy runs Twitch, but Dan Clancy's paid by Amazon. Amazon is allegedly run by a Republican CEO. So why is Dan Clancy still there? It's not about Democrat and Republican, and when you're dealing with the media, you're dealing. It's a way to control both sides of the media. And when people say the stupid statement, and I hear this all the time, it's about both sides. Yeah, in a sense, it is. It's about both sides being manipulated by the third party. That third party being and you're going to hear me say something that sounds like a conspiracy theory, but the third party is the corporate Illuminati, which runs our government for reals.
Thank
Yeah. That's one of the reasons why I do so much research into the news stories I read, because I go back and make sure that I've got multiple sources that aren't tracking back to the same two or three companies, and
Yeah.
I try to go with as many independent sources as I can get.
Right. And if as long as those sources have a banner ad, a pop-up ad, or an advertiser involved with the source, you can't trust the source because they're being paid to have their the media that they're putting out there. When you watch the news, and who's paying for the news? Half the time, when there's COVID information on the news, notice that the commercials are for that episode of the news are more medical centric.
Yep.
When there's somebody in the news that was assaulted, and there you find political media during into commercialism. When somebody in the news was dealing with guns, you got these gun control people, and you never see Republican commercialism within the news. But it's always when they start talking politics, you always see Obama within every commercial. Like recently, I did not see one Republican commercial on the news this last local election when they tried to rig Virginia.
Yeah, and that's we're going to put off the Supreme Court ruling and the Virginia gerrymandering to next week.
Oh, okay, because I was just building up for that.
Because I mean, the Virginia gerrymandering, the fact that even lifelong Democrats are fed up with it. They're like, once they got home and read about what it was, they got upset because the way it was written on the ballot was so misleading. It wasn't even funny. And then the Supreme Court ruling about the using race to gerrymander districts, that violates the law. That blatantly breaks the law. And I can't wait to read the findings of the Supremes put out on it, because it's just insane. And that's why I'm saying that since we're pushing close to the 2 hour mark, to go ahead and wrap up and push that story to next week, so we can actually give it the time it deserves, because that's a pretty hefty bit. I mean, damn, it's some pretty hefty shit. Not as heavy as Fluffy, uh, Gabriel Iglesias, but hey, it's still damn. But okay, we will start wrapping up and start having people hawk their stuff, and start with you, Casey. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Well, thank you as always for allowing me to be a part of this stellar panel. I really appreciate it. Um, if you all would be interested in seeing some of the finest short horror and sci-fi fiction on the tube, feel free to stop by Casey's Creepy Creations. If you are not already subscribed, I would love you for one. If you are subscribed, I would also love you just as much for a like and a comment. Comment especially because that way uh, I can find out what I'm doing right and what I'm doing wrong. There are other stories and videos on the way. Uh, to all of you, one and all, I love you. Um, to my subscribers, I love you. And for the record, because I didn't get a chance to say this, it's not right to attempt to kill anybody. I
Mm-hmm.
don't care who they are.
Well,
God bless and keep you all.
yep, and let that sink in. He's a Grim Reaper saying that.
Yeah, I mean, if I could tell you it's not right to kill people, and I put my own job on the line, folks, it's because it really isn't cool to try to hurt anybody, especially, over a political ideology. This is stupid. We're Americans first. I was
Yep.
born an American. I died an American, and I'll die an American again.
Yep. I love you, Casey. I love you, my brother.
Thank you, Richard.
Next
I
up,
love
we've
you
got
too.
Crazy Horse. Tell people where they can find you. Uh-oh.
I'll tell everybody where to find Crazy Horse and Alice. I'm Alice. He's Crazy Horse. You can find us on Crazy Horse 1985. We are doing our Saturday show Off the Cuff with Alice at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be doing a 90s continued show because we barely touched on the 90s in happy hour. Hopefully, we're going to focus more on movies and music this time. I think we got lots of our ideas out on happy hour, so we're going to dive a little bit deeper into that. So bring your A game, bring your knowledge, bring your laughs, and your raunch, because I need my raunch. We also love doing happy hour with Alice at 7 Eastern on Mondays. Never know what the topic's going to be, kind of like off the cuff, but I would love to know what everybody would like to see us talk about, hear us talk about, topics covered. Let us know in the comments in the chat. We love each and every one of you. Love our chat, and thanks for letting us be here, Richard.
Hey, I say this every day. We're family, man, and we do this to show. Even when you disagree, you can still be friends.
Absolutely. Variety is the spice of life, and moving forward in this world, in our economy, in our society, in our country, we need to start listening to each other. We need to start having healthy debates. And that's the only way we're going to move forward is enlightenment and people sharing ideas.
Yep. And we've got to get back to a point to where we can recognize the other side is just as human as we are.
Mm-hmm.
And their ideas aren't evil. They're just different.
Sometimes very, very different, but yes.
We're all we got, people. We're all we got.
That's the thing that gets me. The right says that the left is wrong. The left is saying the right is pure evil. That's the problem. We've got to get past that. We've got to get. For the past 50 years, I have watched this happen, and it continues to get worse. The divide is getting worse, and we've got to do something to stop it.
But you know what, Richard? We are. Each and every conversation here on Fireside, in the greater community, Dan doing his thing on X, we are setting boundaries, one, and, we're creating and having these conversations that need to be had. So I think we take a step in the good every time we sit around the fireside. Every time somebody stands up and says, hey, listen, I don't really agree with you, but let's talk about it. Let's have that healthy dialogue. The left's great experiment in integration failed. It failed too well. They can no longer pit us against each other for race, religion, creed, and they have to accept it, and they can't. And I got to put my tinfoil hat on for this one because they failed, and now they don't know what to do. We did it.
We wouldn't have failed. We would not have failed with the diversity issue if they would have done what they always said they wanted, to have everybody accepted as an individual. When they started dividing us by things like skin color, by gender, and all this other happy horseshit they started tossing in, that started dividing us. And when they started dividing us, we got what we've got now.
Yeah. By the 90s, by the late 90s, we grew up color, religion, sexual preference. We grew up in the largest gay populated area of South Florida. Loved every minute of it. Looked at nobody less. It was none the wiser.
Yep.
It was when they chose it went too far. When the job was too well done. When they had nothing else to manipulate us with, they created new things to manipulate us with.
Yep.
And that's why I will always say the great experiment of integration, we had it. We had it. We had no problem with race, creed, color, sexual identity. They went too far.
Yep. Next up, we've got Wavo. Can you tell everybody about yourself and where they can find you, brother?
Y'all know me by now.
Yeah, but
We
I
got a lot of projects. All of my current pending projects are finished and ready to go. I have a lot of stuff coming out over the next 2 or 3 weeks. I'm still planning a possible pop-up live stream on the 4th. I just don't know what it's going to be about. So,
but we also got
keep your eyes open
birthday
for that.
coming up.
Yeah,
Got your birthday coming up too. So I've got to get that set up and ready.
yep.
I need to know what day we're going to do it, and
I want to do it on the 14th.
all right,
Be Thursday the 14th.
all right.
So we're going to do it on your actual birthday.
Yes.
Okay, let me put this in the calendar. Hang on, hold please. Alice,
I have a very specific reason for wanting to do it on that particular day, but
Okay,
I can't say what that reason is.
Cool.
No worries. Wait.
I'm looking at it this way, and this goes for you too, Cowboy Dan. If you want to celebrate your birthday here, let me know ahead of time so we can set it up. I've got permission from Osaka-chan to play her birthday music, so we can celebrate the birthday. If we can get a hold of Shrubby to where he can come in and be our roast master general and have fun. The party games we have is I have people break out dice, and I break out the old census data and have you roll up a character based off of old census data.
It was so much fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Alice came out as a Dami mommy or muscle mommy, and Casey came out as a fucking 7 foot tall Viking.
What can I say? I am Olaf Osowski.
It was great, man. I love you guys so much. Oh, all right. Next up, as we are getting ready to close out, we have Cowboy Dan, our guest today.
Hey, howdy. Hey, boys and girls. Thanks for letting me sit in with you guys on the panel. I really hope that you guys had a good night. I had a good night talking with you guys. Sorry if I got a little too opinionated on some of the politics. But as you said, we don't have to agree with each other as long as we make the world a better place. And one of the ways that we make a better place is making sure that we keep the conversation going. Because while the left, they're failing at their integration model, we as a society can integrate our own society together in small little groups and make our group bigger. And this whole group that I've been invited into over the last couple of months has been a very welcoming group of people, one of which has brought me my new co-host to my new show that I'm hosting with King, Cowboys and Kings, where on Friday we're going to be doing episode 2, the recasting. We're going to be talking about legacy actors in movies, series, television, cartoons, everything that have been recasted instead of bringing back the original actor. Sometimes they did it right before your very eyes, like example, Darren from Bewitched. Sometimes they did it by making a retcon or a reboot or whatever. Like we're going to be talking about the new Harry Potter thing, where they decided to completely ignore what J.K. Rowling set up as character descriptions and decide they're going to do DEI casting. As you can tell, I'm very much hinting towards the DEI casting part of the conversation with our thumbnail that has King and the other king. Uh, so feel free to think about the actors that you remember that were recast in our social experiment of entertainment, and let us know your favorites or your least favorite recastings, and we'll let you know if we agree. Also, ladies and gentlemen, that will be on Friday, 8 Central. Oh, sorry, no, 8 Eastern. Sorry, 8 Eastern. I no longer live in the Central time zone. And that'll be Friday, 8 Eastern. So join us for that. And if you guys are over on the Twitter side of the page, I need 5 more followers on Twitter. That's KJ Calboydan at twitter.com. If to hit me to that number 700. So I'm looking to hit 700. If you guys want to help me get there, just 5 more followers over there.
All right,
Thank you
hold
very
on.
much.
Give me a second. Give me a
Oh.
second.
Oh,
Let me
yeah.
do this right quick. Okay. Here we go. Here's the link to his Twitter X. Go give him a follow, guys.
Yeah, just need that 5 more to hit that 700. We are right now. I currently have the blue check mark, and I'm trying to build up so that way, once we hit 500 blue check mark followers, which we're getting there, I'll be able to get monetized. So
Sweet. Well, this is when I normally hit this little button here to put up my banner to let everybody know why I set this up. Let's go out there and be the positive change we want to see in the world. Go out there and do the right thing. Be an example. Inspire people by your example. It's the only way we're going to make things better. Go out there and talk about the stuff you love and why you love it. Don't just say, oh, this new stuff is bad. Tell them about what made you love Star Trek and Star Wars and Doctor Who in the first place. When you talk about the things that you love, that passion comes through. People see it. They can feel it with you. Show them why this matters to you. It's like with Mexican Iron Man and why he loved Star Trek so much. He didn't have a dad. His dad was Captain James T. Kirk. That was the father figure he had. And he's not the only person I've had this conversation with. That these characters meant so much to them because they became their father figures or their mother figures. They became the inspiration that made them strive to be better, to be the best version of themselves that they can be. So let's go out there and do that. Share what you love. Because let's face it, this world needs a hell of a lot more love in it. And the only way we're going to do it is by going out there and sharing it, telling people what we love. And always remember, you are not alone. You are never alone. And you are most definitely loved. Even if it is only by a broken old fool like me. Because I do love each and every one of you. Because I see you're worth it. Y'all be good. Take care. Stay safe. And as always, be blessed.